This is the unraveling no one thought they'd witness, the type of industry implosion usually reserved for cautionary tales or streaming docuseries with moody lighting and ominous piano chords. Beyoncé Giselle Knowles-Carter, the reigning queen of the modern entertainment era, has stood for over 2 decades as a flawless monument to control, perfection, and mystique. But now, that monument is cracking. Not because of a tweet, a misstep, or even a performance gone wrong. No. This time, the wrecking ball is betrayal. And the people swinging it? Her own. The whispers started slow. A few blog posts scattered. Tweets. A blind item here or there. But soon, the murmurs became a chorus. Insiders, some of whom have been by Beyoncé's side for years, her stylists, assistants, even security, are reportedly cooperating with federal investigators. And they're not doing it to save her. They're doing it to shield someone else. Sean Diddy Combs, the man at the center of one of the most explosive criminal investigations in the history of the music industry, is going down, and he's not going alone. At the heart of the storm are a series of federal raids conducted on Diddy's properties in Miami and Los Angeles. Authorities reportedly uncovered a vast trove of damning material, hard drives, video footage, and documents that paint a sinister portrait of sex trafficking, drug smuggling, coercion, and years of abuse operating under the thin veil of celebrity, opulence. But as agents combed through the ruins of Diddy's empire, what they found didn't just implicate him. It allegedly pulled in some of the biggest names in music, including Jay-Z and Beyoncé. What happened next turned the fire into inferno. Leaked audio, blurred footage, and insider claims began surfacing. According to sources close to the case, some of the seized recordings show Diddy's now infamous freak-offs, private, invite-only parties attended by the music industry's elite. These weren't your typical celebrity ragers. These were ritualistic, hyper-exclusive gatherings laced with narcotics, manipulated consent, and now, potentially criminal behavior. Allegedly, in at least one of those tapes, Beyoncé and Jay-Z appear not as innocent guests, but as participants. And that's when everything changed. For decades, Beyoncé cultivated the most carefully controlled brand in music. Her team was famously airtight, her interviews rare, her movements choreographed to the millisecond. But what happens when the team that protected her for so long decides she's no longer worth the risk? The answer is unfolding in real time. Julius, Beyoncé's famously silent bodyguard, has become a name suddenly mentioned in all the wrong places. Known for being as stoic as he is loyal, Julius has been her right hand for over a decade. He's shielded her from paparazzi, diffused onstage incidents, and perhaps most famously, intervened in the explosive 2014 elevator altercation between Solange and Jay-Z. For years, he was seen but not heard. Now he might be singing. Whispers of subpoenas and sealed depositions have placed Julius at the center of the investigation. And if anyone knows what Beyoncé and Jay-Z did or didn't see, say, or do at Diddy's private events, it's him. Jaguar Wright, an industry whistleblower known for exposing dark secrets from hip-hop's highest towers, has claimed that the Carters are far from innocent. In a recent interview, she accused both Jay-Z and Beyoncé of participating in abusive, exploitative scenes behind closed doors, scenes now reportedly under investigation. She even named Kathy White, Jay-Z's former mistress who died under suspicious circumstances years ago, suggesting that Diddy may possess evidence implicating Jay in her death. And it gets worse. A federal lawsuit filed by a woman identified. Only as Jane Doe alleges that both Diddy and Jay-Z raped her at an after-party in 2000, when she was just 13 years old. Jay-Z's legal team aggressively moved to have the case dismissed, even demanding the accuser's identity be revealed. But a judge denied the request, condemning their motions as intimidating and unethical. The suit continues. The pressure is mounting. And Beyoncé? She's saying nothing. To be clear, Beyoncé is not formally charged with anything. But in an investigation of this magnitude, guilt isn't just about what you did. It's about what you knew. Did she know about the abuse? Did she witness coercion and say nothing? Was she part of the machine that silenced victims in exchange for status and control? As federal investigators sift through seized data, surveillance footage, private emails, texts, financial transactions, they're not just asking who was there. They're asking who benefited from staying quiet. And Beyoncé's silence, once celebrated as regal restraint, now reads like complicity, Her fans are beginning to fracture. For years, the Beyhive defended her against everything. Accusations of inauthenticity, cultural appropriation, even Illuminati conspiracies. But this is different. This isn't gossip. It's criminal, and it's coming with the weight of subpoenas and grand juries. For the first time, Beyoncé's silence isn't golden. It's damning. Meanwhile, Jay-Z is reportedly panicking behind the scenes. Once known for playing chess in a checkers world, he's now cornered by a game he no longer controls. Insiders say Beyoncé begged him to settle privately with accusers to keep the headlines from tainting their image. But Jay's pride wouldn't allow it. And now, with Diddy leaking footage and insiders flipping, the situation is rapidly deteriorating. It's no longer a question of if this ends in scandal, but how far the rot goes. Beyoncé's team, those tasked with guarding her every move, are distancing themselves. Sponsorships are being reviewed. Campaigns are going quiet. Even Ivy Park's momentum has slowed. This isn't about cancellation. It's about credibility. The brands that tied their reputations to hers are reassessing whether they can afford to be caught in the blast radius. The whispers behind boardroom doors are blunt. Is Beyoncé still safe? Julius, again, becomes central. Some believe he's cooperating to protect himself. Others believe he's turning to protect her. Perhaps believing that by testifying, he can isolate her from the legal fallout. But if what he knows connects her in any way to illegal activity, the entire Carter empire could collapse. And while this storm rages, Beyoncé continues her carefully choreographed performances, her Instagram posts filtered to perfection, her presence ethereal and untouched. But even her fans are starting to ask, how long can you sing through fire before the mic melts in your hand? Beyoncé's most recent track, Bodyguard, was dissected line by fans and journalists alike. Some believe it contains veiled confessions, coded references to guilt, to protection, to secrets too dangerous to reveal. Lyrics like, "He shields me from the world even when he knows the truth" no longer feel like metaphor. They feel like foreshadowing. The tragic irony of all this? Beyoncé's entire career has been about liberation. She championed feminism, racial justice, creative freedom. She demanded space for Black women to be seen as powerful, complex, divine. But now, as the walls close in, she is being seen as something else. Part of a machine that devoured others to protect itself, and maybe that's the hardest truth to swallow. This was never just about Diddy. This is about how power works, who gets protected, who gets silenced, and who becomes expendable when the truth becomes inconvenient. Right now, Beyoncé stands on the edge of a legacy-defining cliff. She can choose to break her silence, confront the storm, and speak the truth. Or she can keep dancing, keep singing, keep curating the illusion until the silence itself becomes the story. Because if the people closest to her are now flipping to save themselves, the message is clear. The illusion is broken, and the Queen may no longer have a kingdom to return to. If you've been following this story, you know it's far from over. So hit that like button if you believe the era of untouchable celebrity is ending. Subscribe for the next bombshell as the case unfolds, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Is Beyoncé innocent, complicit, or somewhere in between? What happens when the most perfect image in pop culture starts to show cracks? The truth is rising, the silence is breaking, and the crown is tilting.